Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. So if you could introduce yourself for me, please.
So, my name is Melissa Stiling. I'm an optometrist. Um, I have a private practice in South Carolina. And as of right now, there are two doctors in the practice, and I have an additional 10 staff members.
Mm.
And I've been open about 15 years now. And I've been with Silkin for 13 years.
Well, that's quite a while. What has stood out for you in the service that you've received from Silkin?
So I think probably what has stood out for me initially, I had gotten on board to get some organization in the practice with job descriptions and staff manuals and things like that, and get some help with personnel handling. And I think that was initially a major um, goal for me, and it was easily achieved using the training that I've gotten from Silken. Over the years, of course, the um, purpose has shifted into just maintaining statistics that are trending upward, and how to analyze those statistics, and how to continually plan for expansions um, and how to manage the staff that comes with that expansion.
Great. And now with doing training, you've done training in the owner and the executive system. How's the training in the owner system helped you to be a better leader and expand your practice?
So I think overall, while I'm by no means an expert at it, because it is always something that's a kind of a challenge, is managing people in the
Mm.
office. So the leadership courses, and just the even the management by statistics, because that course helps you look at even each individual department and how their statistics are doing, and how you can manage um, improving their statistics, and then how do you get them to do that. So personnel management, and the effective leadership, and how to get people to basically do what you want them to do. Mhm.
Great. And in the consulting, how has the constant consulting helped you in giving you direction or helped you with looking at where your practice is going?
So, my consultant, Gloria, is consistently consistent. She is she is always kind of bringing up new things. So something that I might not think about, such as surveying patients on new services, or when I may think I know what the people want, I may not have the right ideas. And then the so her one of the most recent things that we've been doing is surveying patients about new services. So that was an idea from her. And so ultimately, just kind of she brings to my attention things that I may not think of, in looking at, and even looking at the statistics. So I may have like a good idea about why a statistic is trending downward. And then we have a talk about it, and then we go, oh, well, maybe it's a different problem. So it's nice to have someone who's objective and kind of on the outside. She helps to gather information and make decisions based on true facts, rather than just what we kind of think might be happening.
Great. And the training in the executive system, which you mentioned management by statistics, you've also done a bit of CEO1. How has that helped to structure your practice and your staff, as well
Mhm.
as create stability?
So the stability. the stability comes from, well, consistency again, and it comes from teaching staff to take ownership in their statistics. And
Mm,
so you do that by, and the only way I would know how to do that is using the management by statistics course and the things you learn in that course about how to look for uptrends and downtrends and what to do if there's an uptrend or what to do if there's a downtrend. So that also that creates stability in maintaining the uptrends.
mm,
And so it's not just helped me, but it's helped my staff kind of understand what I'm looking for at the end of the day and kind of what I expect them to be doing from a certain point to manage their own statistics. So it creates stability in that they look at daily, they're looking at, for instance, my opticians are looking at how many frames they've sold versus my front desk is looking at how many patients slots were booked versus open. And so then each department knows, okay, well, we've got to, if our statistic is down, we've got to get that statistic back up or Dr. Stiling may not be happy.
mm.
And so it really helps them kind of take ownership. And so then that position is stable because they know what's expected, and it's not a big up and down kind of roller coaster for them. The CEO one course covered a lot of leadership qualities and um, covered a lot of, I'll say, concepts that maybe I'd heard before in some of the courses, but it just helped to solidify my understanding of them and how to use them in the course. So
Mm.
then, or use them in the practice, I mean. So then when when you're talking about them in a course, it's pretty, it's pretty, it seems like common sense, but then you go out into the real world and in your practice to kind of put them into play and you kind of wonder like, well, why haven't I done any of this stuff before? And the implementation has been helpful for of the CEO course for both myself and my office manager um, in maintaining quotas for our departments and things like that.
Fantastic. Now, a lot of doctors say that time is quite a big thing, or investing in training is something that's a consideration for them. Why have you personally invested in the training yourself, and why would you tell others to take the time to do the training?
Well, I think, at first when I had a very young practice is when I had the most hesitation of doing the training, and at that point, I felt like time away from the practice took away from the practice, when in reality, looking back on it, it was time that you're still investing in the practice, and it can help to using the training when you come back to the practice is more basically it helps them run smoother. So then you kind of on the back end, you're not spending as much time with, say, managing personnel and things like that because you have the tools to do it with. So it just makes it easier. And same for getting everything organized at first. Yes, it takes time to create the manuals and things like that, even if there are um, even if it takes, I don't know, I think at first it took me something like 2 days on the weekends to really go through at least like one department manual.
Mm.
And when I did that, um, I was like, man, this is a lot of time. But then over the years, I've just had to tweak it a little bit here and there instead of having to sit down and kind of redo all of these policies and just kind of once in a while just tweak the policy. So over time, it just it saved time. It took time in the beginning, but saves time in the future. And same for money. It kind of feels like it costs a lot, we can um, but then we can save money in the long run by not having to take as much time to manage certain things and create things that are already created by Silken for us, and like the training manuals and things, because I use my training manuals to help my office manager and my staff and things like that. Um, so I think the both for the time and money, I think kind of the spend money to make money adage kind of also applies to the time here. Spend time to create time, or reduce your time really that you spend further in the future to better the practice and make it easier and smoother for the practice to run.
Mm. Okay, good. And the last question I have is, what are some of the tips that you have for practice owners that you found to be helpful when running your practice or working with staff?
Policy, having strong policy. And I did not have that when I started out with Silken. And so in the long term, having a policy manual is something that can be consistently referred to. It can be adjusted and amended as needed, but for the most part, if you have a strong policy for any aspect of the office, whether it's vacations or full-time versus part-time benefits, or um, disciplinary actions, it is it makes it a lot easier to enforce rules, because if you have a clear-cut rule and an employee can see that written in a manual, and it's consistent from staff to staff member, then there's no favoritism, there's no inconsistencies, and so it just makes management a lot easier having good policy. I'd say that's probably the most important thing.
Perfect.